All right, Dr. Philip, do we start now?
Yes, that's why I'm enabling you.
Okay. We're just 4.
Yeah, why not?
All right, sir.
They can't wait. They have to keep to our time.
All right, sir. Good evening, everybody. You're welcome to day 2 of our webinar series that we have tagged the mentorship, the 2 sides of a coin. And yesterday we had a webinar titled, we had the first webinar for day 1 titled The Need for Mentorship in a Successful Career Development, that was taken by Dr. Philip, during which we had a very amazing session and we learned about a lot of things that regarding how we stand on the shoulders of giants to become better scientists and develop better things for our continent, Africa. African Young Scientists is a non-for-profit organization that aims to unite and promote young scientists for Africa's development. It is a mentorship community that was founded by Dr. Philip to create an avenue for upcoming scientists to have access to effective mentoring and guidance to become better scientists for the future of STEM in Africa. Today, we are going to be having our lecture for day 2, titled The Right Attitude for Mentor-Mentee Relationship by Dr. Emmanuel Balogun from the Molecular Biology and Neglected Tropical Diseases Research Group in ABU Zaria. I'll go on to read Dr. Emmanuel's citation so we can go on to the business of the day as soon as possible. Dr. Emmanuel Oluwadare Balogun is an academic staff of the Department of Biochemistry, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Nigeria. He is a well-trained biochemist with specializations in enzymology, molecular parasitology, protein science, and structural biology. Dr. Emmanuel obtained his first and second degrees from the Department of Biochemistry, ABU Zaria, and a PhD from the Graduate School of Medicine, the University of Tokyo, Japan. Dr. Emmanuel did a 4-year postdoctorate on antiparasitic drug discovery project at the University of Tokyo and Kyoto Institute of Technology, Japan. Dr. Emmanuel is the first scientist to solve the 3-dimensional structure of glycerol kinase from African trypanosomes and describes its catalytic mechanisms. Furthermore, he contributed towards the structural elucidation of trypanosomal alternative oxidase and the design of its most potent inhibitor. Their research group has recently succeeded to design a new drug-like compound against malaria, African trypanosomiasis and ascariasis. Dr. Emmanuel has contributed 96 protein 3D structural coordinates to the protein data bank and 142 nucleotide sequences to the gene bank, in addition to his numerous publications in highly rated journals, such as the Microbiology, the Antimicrobial Agents and Chemotherapy, the Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, USA, etc. His goal is to contribute towards global health through his research and intervention development for African endemic tropical diseases. As a result, Dr. Emmanuel formed and leads the Molecular Biology and Neglected Tropical Diseases Research Group, MBNTDRG, and holds regular research mentorship meetings with MBNTDRG. Most importantly, Dr. Emmanuel is a mentee of the late Professor Andrew Jonathan Knock. Finally, Dr. Emmanuel has received many scholarships and fellowship awards. He is a scholar, Japanese government MEXT-ship. He is the recipient of Young Scientist Awardee of the Japanese Biomedical Society Science. He is a recipient Gold Medal Merit Award for Science from Nigerian Academy of Science. He is a fellow, Japan Society for Promotion of Science, JSPS. He is a fellow of Fulbright Program USA. He is a fellow of FLAIR of African Academy of Science and the Royal Society of United Kingdom. He is also a recipient of the Mandant Global Leader Award from NIH USA. Join me as we welcome Dr. Emmanuel Balogun to give us today's lecture on the right attitude in a mentor-mentee relationship. Dr. Emmanuel Balogun, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can hear you,
Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to share a little bit of my thought on the title, which is Mentorship Two Sides of a Coin, for this mentorship webinar series organized by African Young Scientists. I'm most honored. Thank you for the opportunity once more. So the title of my own talk today is The Right Attitude in a mentor-mentee relationship. As you have already introduced me, I am affiliated with Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, which is a university in northern Nigeria. I'm sure maybe a number of you have visited or some of you have not. We have a very beautiful campus. Please find time to visit whenever you're around here up north. Here, our region is safe. There's no much cause for fear. We have campuses around, I think 4 campuses in Zaria.
We can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry. I'm sharing my screen.
It's visible, sir. The screen is visible.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. On my own side. Okay, I think it's visible. Okay, now it's okay.
It's visible. I can see it.
Okay,
good.
Thank you. I think it's on my side.
Thank you so much. All right. So I'm just talking about my institution, ABU Zaria, that you should visit to observe and to enjoy the beautiful scenery on our campus. And amazing things are going on here in terms of scholarship, in terms of studies and research of various kinds. So you're welcome. Now going into
Thank you very much, sir.
Going to the subject of discussion. Before I start, I want to acknowledge my mentors. I'm a mentee. I'm still being mentored by people, and unfortunately, some of the greatest mentors that I have had in my life are late now. Just like the person who introduced me mentioned that I'm a mentee of late Professor Andrew Jonathan Knock. A number of you may not know him, but I'm sure those of you in sciences would have heard about late Professor Andrew Jonathan Knock. He's a fellow of the Academy of Science. He was a recipient of LNG Award and many other national awards nationally and internationally. And of course, worthy of mention is the first mentor that I had. Yesterday, when we listened to Dr. Philip, he mentioned that mentorship is something that have started long ago, centuries back. And he highlighted also that mentorship actually starts with when we give birth to babies, to children. We teach them how to feed, we teach them, how to walk and many things. So I learned the beginning of this relationship from my biological father. I call him, he's Baba Emmanuel Balogun. He's a wonderful person. I hope I can be like him. So highlights of yesterday, to start this lecture, because I know a number of people perhaps were not here yesterday when Philip gave a very wonderful and insightful lecture from which I learned a lot. So I'll give a highlight of his talk, which was titled The Need for Mentorship in a Successful Career. So Philip enumerated a number of stuff, and some of them are just that as I have listed here. He talked about purpose of mentorship. He talked about why mentorship actually, and then types of mentorship. He described a number of mentorship. He also talked about the importance of mentoring, which cannot be overemphasized. I will also delve into that a little today in the course of my discussion. He talked about the need for a mentor, or who needs a mentor. As you will know, I believe a number of us here, we are mentees, therefore, or we are prospective potential mentees, still in search of mentors, or some of us have found one mentor or the other that has been very helpful and useful in career growth. And then he told us historical perspectives of mentoring. Just like I mentioned, it starts from infancy, it starts from when a child is born, it continues. It's a process that continues through through the lifespan of an individual, not just through the career of the person, but throughout. And then he took us through details on how to identify a good mentor, which was really very, very educating. And again, I will mention just a few in just a few moments. He also told us about good qualities of the mentee, or what a good mentee should have. And he mentioned the myth of mentorship, where to find a mentor and ways to lose a mentor, unfortunately. So this, in case you didn't attend the lecture yesterday, I understand this is already online, so you can please, I would recommend that you go and watch it. It's quite educating. Philip, thank you very much for yesterday's lecture. It was quite very useful. So based on Philip's lecture yesterday, it made my job very easy because he prepared the ground for me to be able to talk on the subject or the topic of my own discussion, which is the relationship between a mentee and a mentor. And then, but you know, in the context, since this lecture is organized by African young scientists, so I went to search what could be the challenges that young African scientists face. And we know that generally in the country, not only in our country, Nigeria, but in Africa, we have the problem of migration. You know, highly skilled people are trained in the country or in the region, and then they move to developed countries for one reason or the other. This is not very good for the economy, for the development of the continent, or for, if you look at Nigeria specifically. So there was a study, I stumbled on a very interesting study, or a very important, interesting report, which was published this year in Nature Africa, and this is by Global Young Scientists and Global Young Academy. So the sampled opinions of early career scientists, some of them I think about 1,157 people. 603 of them already have PhDs, they are PhD holders, and then 554 master degree holders. Of this 554, 69% are on their PhD currently. So this is really massive, studies involving highly trained individuals of African origin. And these people, they are all over. Some of them remain in Africa, but not in their countries of origin. Some of them are in the Americas, majorly North America, and some of them in Asia and Europe. So these people, these individuals were asked a number of questions. I think there was a questionnaire administered, and then they highlighted. So the Global Young Academy were able to enumerate or to identify reasons why people leave the shores of Africa to other countries. Top on the reason is the fact that most of these movements, they are research related. Research related can be attributable to facilities, maybe lack of facilities in their country of origin or even in the continent. Therefore, they move to well equipped laboratories elsewhere in the world. And then again, the of African origin. So therefore, what it means is that it is important to have a look at how can Africa solve this problem, because just like the person who introduced us today mentioned that African Young Scientists is a forum that look at problems relating to science, relating to scientists in Africa, with the aim of developing science in the continent. So therefore, what is this telling us? What this is telling us is that there is a need by individuals, by philanthropists, by governments to look into this situation. Because when you have this number of people, highly skilled people, who are supposed to be contributing to the development of your continent, they migrate to other countries, then these cause procedures worry. So with this in mind, there is a problem. It means young people, early career researchers identify that they have problem regarding relating to their research, relating to their career, and therefore this will be very important, and I believe this will be an important forum to discuss part of this problem. And this mentoring is really a topic that can look at this problem holistically. It's not just about having knowledge of what a mentor or what a mentee should be, or the mentoring platform, but what will be the impact of the knowledge? How do we transform what we have learned in the course of this webinar into what will be necessary to improving the lot of Africa, to improving the lot of our countries in Africa, to improving the lots of the individual researchers that are Africans. So mentoring cannot be overemphasized as a key to solving this problem. Mentoring, because you have seen in that previous slide that I showed to you, that people are concerned, have fear about their career development. They have concerns that if they remain in Africa, they will not be able to have access to research facilities that will... Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Bear with you, sir.
Okay, so they will not have access to research facilities that will be able to enhance their career. So mentoring is very important. Mentoring, as Philip highlighted yesterday, basically is to enhance accelerated success, or to enhance assured success. You know, everyone wants to succeed. Nobody wants to be a failure. You won't want to go through the 4 walls of a university, through BSc, or maybe MSc, or even proceed to PhD, and then end up a failure. That can really be scary. So how do we assuage this? How do we solve this problem? So introduction of the mentoring program will be very, very key, as we all know that mentoring is very important. And how does mentoring enhance or assure us of success? Is because there is a program, it's a partnership between two individuals that result in the support of a weaker person or of a less experienced individual, passing on of training from a well-experienced person to a less experienced individual. In this case, when I mean less experienced individual, now if I make reference to that previous slide, I'm referring to early career researchers. Okay, of course, these researchers can be either in economics, they can be in life sciences, they can be in engineering, they can be in IT. Everyone wants to make impact and succeed. So training is important. And then to give direction, because a number of people, you know, it's like we grow up in darkness. What do we do? How do I get this? How do I get that? There is not much information available on how to be able to make to achieve a particular goal or a particular aim. So therefore, a mentoring scheme or a mentoring program will provide direction to such an early career researcher. And then, of course, not only direction, it will be important for motivation to be a key component. Motivation is very important for individuals that are just coming up, individuals who are just emerging, who are just coming out of school or coming out of graduate programs. Okay, they are not sure of what the future holds. And then so this kind of people needs to be motivated either to acquire higher degrees or higher exposure, or motivation, giving assurance that, okay, yeah, you can go and acquire whatever knowledge, but please come back to Africa. This is very, very critical. And of course, in addition to that, overall, the overall of this is that the person wants to achieve one or two things. That means goals that he or she must have set for himself or herself. So if we proceed now to look at the mentoring, in the mentoring scheme, like Philip highlighted, there is a mentor and there is a mentee. So in this case, if I will ask individuals here, unfortunately, maybe there may be no time to ask, but if I may ask individuals that who is more important in a mentoring program, in a mentoring scheme? Is it a mentee or the mentor? Can anyone just volunteer to tell us briefly, or just tell or mention? Is it a mentor or a mentee? Who is, yeah, so you are raised his hand or her hand. Can you please allow Yoa to tell us?
The mentor.
The mentor. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then how about Afolabi Olawale?
I go for the mentee.
The mentee.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Who other person is here? Okay. We have two people. Unfortunately, so this will be a tie, right? Kind of. So Hidayah. Hidayah?
I believe it's the mentee.
The mentee, okay. So Afolabi and Hidayah for mentee. How about Adeniyi Adebayo?
Hello.
Yes, Adeniyi Adebayo.
Okay, I go for mentee.
Mentee. So we have three people for mentee right now. And then there is Mukhtar Ikara, the last Mukhtar Ikara. We'll take one more person. Mukhtar Ikara. Mukhtar.
Mentee.
Mentee. So we have 5 for mentee. And then the last person, Quackab. Quackab.
Yeah. The mentee.
Mentee. Okay. My friend Afolabi, unfortunately, so if we are to go by democracy, we'll say that the mentee carries the vote. And I think really the mentee is really the more important person in this relationship. We will see why a mentee is very important. Okay, so if you have this relationship between a mentee and a mentor, you have, Philip highlighted this yesterday, and again, I will mention this because this is very critical to the subject of discussion. We have a mentee, someone who is trying to climb, who has a goal to climb up a ladder, to climb up through to success. And then there's another person who is a mentor. This person is already there. This person is already a successful person in a particular regard. Maybe it's in terms of research, in terms of number of publications, in terms of degrees, okay? So this person is a mentor. He has arrived there, he or she has arrived there. And then you have this person who is aspiring to move up the ladder. And then the important thing is that this person is willing, identify that, oh, I need to move up to success. Success can be defined in many things, as we will see shortly in this box. And then you have another person who is willing to help, you know. So there must be somebody, the two people must be willing here. One is already a successful person willing to help someone who is willing to succeed, okay? The same is the case here. You have someone who is already upstage, he has already reached a goal. Maybe this goal is a career goal. Maybe this goal is in terms of finance or in terms, you know, of setting up a company or whatever it is. This person is already there. And then you have this person aspiring. So a mentee and a mentor. This is very important. Okay, so the purpose of all these, you know, struggle about mentoring, about wanting to be a mentee, about wanting to be a mentor, there is just one purpose that I will summarize, that I usually, you know, discuss this in the first class, in the first class of every course that I teach. We discuss what is our purpose of being in the university. What is the purpose of aspiring to get a first degree? What is the purpose of aspiring to get an MSc, a PhD, doing a postdoc, you know, in a career? What is the purpose? Going into business, to succeed in business, or to be an entrepreneur, anything. What is the purpose? The sole purpose, this is my definition, I may be wrong. The purpose is just to make the world a better place. Simple. To making the world better, contributing towards making the world a better place. So this is why I think a mentee is very important, because a mentee, this mentee would have, you know, just remained at his or her comfort zone. You know, it's more stable down. For those who are familiar with chemistry, you know, at the ground state is much more stable than the activated state. And this is climbing, this can be, of course, it's uphill. So is a case of attempting to promote electron from, you know, lower energy state to higher energy state. It involves a lot of energy. So a mentee, therefore, I think is very important for agreeing or for deciding to aim towards success. Success in what area? Success may be in finances, okay? In share, success may be, you know, to become the best scientist or best researcher or to discover something. Success may be in terms, you know, of solving very complicated problems, you know, such as climate change, such as diseases, such as designing, you know, the latest programs that can help solve specific problems. So these are the major things that most of us aspire to do. As scientists, we want to make discoveries because we know making discovery means identifying something new, something that has previously not been known. And then this thing, whatever it is that we aspire to uncover, we believe it's going to make the world a better place. Maybe it contribute to preventing diseases, contribute towards curing diseases, contribute towards solving the problem of climate change, contribute towards solving, you know, the impact of climate change, of droughts, you know, on crops, okay, things like that. So a number of problems exist, and we want to solve them. So there are commonly encountered problems of mentoring. I want to start with problems. This may not be a very good approach, but it's better to have this at the back of our minds for those of us that are mentees or that are aspiring to be mentees. This is very common. I mean, it's central to both mentees and the mentor. Okay, the problem of mismatching. Mismatching means who is the right mentee or who is the right mentor. So this can become problematic because if there is a mismatch from the beginning, there will be problem. There will be no progress. If you approach a mentor, you know, yesterday Philip gave us the rudiments of identifying and getting a mentor. Okay, if you identify someone that you propose to become your mentor, but if that person is not willing, if that person is not interested, maybe the person is interested in geoscience, and then you are rather interested in biology, things like that, and there is no synergy or there is no point of agreement, this is mismatching and there will be no progress. Of course, it means that the mentee is likely to fail. Mind you, if a mentee fails, it doesn't mean the failure is solely the mentees. Of course, he's the most important factor in the relationship, but the mentor also will be not a successful mentor, at least with regards to the mentee. Then declining commitment. You know, this is very common to everything, not just mentee-mentor relationship, not just in terms of mentoring, but in most cases, just imagine your first day in school when you arrive in your university to do your registration and start the lectures. The first few weeks are usually very exciting, right? But as time goes on, then there are some issues begin to crop up. You begin to lose some courage, you know, things like that. So these are very common with mentees. So declining commitment. The mentor may be very willing, may still be fired, you know, committed to rendering the service or the expected services, you know, but the mentee may just not be committed. And of course, yeah. Hello?
Sorry, I think it's a distraction from.
Okay.
Hello, sir. We can hear you. We can hear you,
Right.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
okay.
sir. We can go on, sir. We can hear you.
This issue of declining commitment is very it's a big issue in every sphere of life. But you know, specifically in this case, mentor in the mentoring program, declining commitment is usually. I sat when I was preparing this talk today. I sat through and find out that a number of mentors, you know, make such comment that, what do I do to make my mentee realize this? What do I do to make my mentee understand me? You know, things like that. So, you know, where is my mentee? I haven't seen him in a while. You know, these are common problems associated with mentoring scheme. So in most cases, the mentor, usually, from what I have seen, I think the mentors are more stable as expected, but the mentees usually lose the flair. Then you have difficulty in tracking the program of the program results. So because for every venture, it's just like every venture you come into school, you have to be examined. So the same is the case in this relationship between a mentee and a mentor. There must be a way of tracking the results, because at the beginning, at initial, goals must be set. I will talk about goals in a very short while. Goals must be set, and then how do we achieve these goals? How do we evaluate that the goals have been achieved? These are problems. So with these problems in mind, this will help us. This will therefore help to guide the mentees, particularly because this problem is more associated with mental, as I mentioned. So with this in mind, we should be able to understand, okay, if these are common problems, therefore I think I will do this and this to prevent me having a problem of mismatching, to prevent me from having a declining commitment, and then also plan appropriately to be able to take action that will be able to evaluate the results. So at the onset of the mentoring program, there are responsibilities, and I have listed here, I've tabulated here some responsibilities that I have come across, and I think from my experience as a mentee myself, these are very important. One of the responsibility number one of the mentee is that the mentee must have a clear understanding and the motivation of wanting to be mentored, because we're talking about mentoring here. If you do not have understanding of what mentoring means, or what mentoring means, what mentee means, and your responsibility as a mentee, it becomes very difficult. Therefore, you will be prone to the earlier enumerated problems. Okay, and then you have to select a mentor based on your pre-established criteria relevant to your career. So Philip mentioned yesterday that sometimes you may have a single mentor, or you may have multiple mentors, depending on your career goals. I think it is likely to have multiple mentors, because even in standard mentoring programs, to which I have to which I'm still a mentee of some of these programs, it is very important that the mentoring plan is targeted towards the career needs of the mentee. This is very important. So this is why the mentee is very important, is a driver of actually the program. So the third is to broaden, mentee should broaden his or her search for a mentor. And this should include not only people in your fields, it should include people in other fields, depending again on your career goal, on what you think the knowledge gap that you have, or the training gap that you have. It may be your inability to write academic papers, articles for publication. It may be your inability to be able to identify what grant is appropriate for you for your career. These titles that I have mentioned, writing papers for publication, application for grants, or looking for PhD scholarships, looking for PhD positions, these are not field specific. Okay, if you have the experience, if the mentor have the experience, you will benefit irrespective of the mentor's background, irrespective of the mentor's career. You will benefit certainly. So on the other hand, for the mentors, the responsibilities of mentors at the beginning, at the onset of the mentoring plan, is to have a clear understanding of the motivation for becoming a mentor. If someone approach you, if you're a mentor, for instance, Philip, if someone approach Philip and say, "Oh, Philip, I want you to be my mentor." I think Philip, as a good mentor, the first thing he will want to know is, what really does this person need? What really does this person want? And then the next thing is for the mentor or the potential mentor now to take a realistic assessment of his or her skills and experience, leadership experience. Will he or she be able to meet the expected need of the mentee based on his or her career goals and expectations, based on the knowledge gap that he or she wants to fill? So these are the kind of questions that the mentor must ask himself or herself at the beginning. Okay. Then lastly, the mentor must be open to mentoring individuals from outside discipline. Of course, as we have mentioned, that we are advocating, or we are advising mentees to be open to people, to be open to be mentored by people, by people outside their fields. So therefore, people outside their fields also must be sufficiently positioned, must be willing to accept people who are not in their field. An example is, for instance, I'm a biochemist. If a chemist or a biologist or a chemical engineer or even an engineer approach me that he or she wants me to be his or her mentor, I should be open. I shouldn't say, oh no, I'm not an engineer, or I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a biologist, I'm a biochemist, I can only mentor biochemists. No, that is not, that wouldn't be a very good approach. Now, the benefits of this slide is talking about the benefit of a mentee, of being a mentee. The benefit is they are enormous. Here, I have listed them here is to learn the workplace culture, because Philip enumerated yesterday that a mentor-mentee relationship can be among people in the same company or in the same institution or in the same department. So if you have such a relationship, that means the workplace ethics will be very, the mentee will be very familiar very rapidly. Okay, there will be enhanced skill development. Okay, skill means in a particular field, maybe in statistics, right? So the mentee will gain knowledge from this highly skilled or highly experienced individual in the area of statistics, or in the area of manuscript preparation, in the area of publication. So there will be this critical thing that enhance success. And then networking opportunities. This is very, very important. I will share a few of my examples I have had, as a mentee myself. As I mentioned to you earlier, I'm a mentee of Professor Andrew Jonathan Knock. Professor Andrew Jonathan Knock started mentoring me. I think I consider myself as one of the very lucky individuals. Lucky in the sense that I found my mentor at 100 level, when I was in 100 level. I know very few people may have this kind of opportunity or experience, having identified a mentor early in one's career. I haven't started, I was still a student when by sheer providence, I identified my mentor. Then potential. So your mentor, if you have a mentor, that mentor mostly they will want to introduce you to people, to his or her circle of colleagues or friends. Likewise, professionals. This may be well-placed individuals that you can leverage on their positions, you can leverage on their experience to get things done. It may be getting a scholarship, it may be getting a job. So in my case, after my BSc, okay, Professor Andrew Knock advised me in the course of my BSc during my project. He advised me that I should come back for my MSc immediately after NYC. For those who are non-Nigerians, NYC is called the Nigerian Youth Service, National Youth Service Scheme. It's a scheme for individuals who have obtained their bachelor's. Okay, it's a transition. It has served as a transition between studentship and real life. And then within that 1 year, you have the opportunity to make contributions. We have the opportunity to make contributions to our country. So he asked me to come back to return immediately for my higher study for my MSc. Because before then, I wasn't thinking about that, okay, but he mentioned it repeatedly, and I did. I obliged. I came back, and it's been really interesting since I returned. So I returned, and then at that time, when I returned as an MSc student, of course, he supervised me, and then in the course of my MSc, he requested me that what really do I want? I told him, oh, I want to be a good scientist like you. Then he smiled. He said, okay, would you like to take up a job, a teaching job in this department? And then, initially I was reluctant for many reasons. I'm sure a number of us, as young people, then after BSc, what is on your mind is how to go out there, make money and settle down and take care of some responsibilities. And then I told him this, and then he smiled that, okay, I need to take it easy, that he will advise me, because perhaps, I don't know, maybe he saw some qualities in me that motivated him to give me such an advice, and I came back. So after MSc, then he informed me, I didn't know, then he informed me that there is something called MEX scholarship. It's a scholarship given by the Japanese government to PhD, intending PhD students. And then so I applied. He mentored me through the application. I applied, and then I'm talking about networking opportunities. And then he facilitated, he introduced me to one of his mentors at that time. This is Professor Kiyoshi Kita. Professor Kiyoshi Kita is a professor of molecular parasitology, molecular and biochemical parasitology in Japan at the University of Tokyo. And then he hooked me up with him and asked me to send him an email. I sent him a mail, and then this professor graciously agreed. For many of you who have experience about applying for scholarship, sometimes getting acceptance in a particular institution may be a daunting task. But if you have a mentor who is already well established, he will have certainly a network of friends in any institution, and all he needs to do is just send just one sentence email. This is my student. I'm introducing my student to you. He will mail you a letter to tell you what he needs. And that was what happened. Wow. I landed at the University of Tokyo. I got a scholarship, of course, after passing the exams, and then I got a supervisor. Then, while I had just arrived at the University of Tokyo at that time, and then Professor Kiyoshi Kita, who was my supervisor at both PhD and postdoctorate level, he now introduced me to someone again in his network. And this person is Professor Hartmut Mitchell. Professor Hartmut Mitchell is a Nobel laureate. He won Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1988 for unraveling the structure of membrane integral proteins that are involved in photosynthesis. So he solved the structure of photosynthetic protein that using X-ray crystallography. So I had the opportunity. This was my first time at that time. This must have been 2008. This was my first time to meet physically a Nobel laureate. Okay, so I was very happy and I was excited. So if you have a mentor, if you are in a mentoring program, you have good mentors, it will all be from one step to another, and honestly, the potential is that you will be flying high. Your progress towards success in your career will highly be accelerated, it will be enhanced. Because the mentor will be there to help you solve some problems, to guide you to solving some problems, and then the mentor will also help to, in most cases, they will transfer their knowledge to you. Knowledge transfer can be field specific, it can be just broad knowledge, okay, but any knowledge, no knowledge is a waste. This is really very important. And honestly, meeting with Professor Hartmut Mitchell just at the beginning of my PhD, it changed many things concerning my perspective to science and to life generally. So you just it should be all beneficial all through. I'm telling you, as a mentee, being a mentee is very, very beneficial, because Philip mentioned yesterday that again, that you cannot give what you don't have. So if you see someone who is well mentored, that person must have been a good mentee at some point. I mean, yeah, that person must have been a mentee himself at some point, meaning that a mentor must have been a good mentee. And then, so these are the attributes or the factors that will help you to be a good mentee. Remember, the mentee is the most important component, is the most important factor in the mentoring relationship. And then here I found some very important attributes, or some important, very important factors that are necessary for a mentee to succeed. Number one is that you must respect your mentor. Of course, these are, even if the mentor, you have identified a mentor who you are older than, there's nothing wrong in being mentored by someone who's older than you. The mentorship is not about age. We're not mentoring you to become an old person. We're mentoring, you have to get mentored to be a successful professional, to be a successful person. Success here means to contribute towards solving global problems, to contribute towards making the world a better place. So this is very important, and therefore you must respect people who already have that experience. Remember, a mentor is someone who is sufficiently experienced with regards to your knowledge gap, with regards to your aspirations, with regards to things that you think are rudimentary to your success in your career. So you must also understand your own expectations and also understand the expectation of your mentors. Okay, you can't go to a Philip as an MSc student in anatomy, and then you can't even mention the most important bones or the most important organs, in the human body. Okay, you can't go to a biochemist for mentorship without knowing the simple rudiments, simple laws, simple principles of biochemistry, right? So your expectations, the mentor have some expectations on you. The mentor is not taking someone from elementary school. The mentor is taking someone with a BSc degree or with an MSc degree or even a PhD or a postdoc. So therefore, the mentor expects that as a mentee, you must be experienced in certain things, because without that experience, you won't even be able to identify what your career goals are. Then you have to be able to meet regularly with your mentor, right? Your mentor should actually know everything about you. When I was under the tutelage of Professor Andrew, he knows everything about me. He knows everything about my parents, about my siblings, where I come from, everything he knew. How poor I was or how rich I was, he knew. So this is very important, and that means you should be able to meet up, because the more you meet with people, the more you meet with your friend, the more he or she knows you. Prepare for every meeting. Whenever you're having a mentoring meeting, okay, you must prepare. Preparation will involve or entail sending email ahead of time, reminding the mentor that, okay, I am coming to see you today. I need to discuss this and this, okay, because now you can do that. So you can ask for and give feedback. This is very important, as academics, as researchers, as scientists. Okay, feedback is very important. That is why it's one of the reasons why, when you write your article for publication, it will be sent for peer review, and then when it is reviewed, you will get a feedback from the reviewers, right? So it's the same thing. Your mentor should be able to give you feedback. You should also, as a mentee, you should also be able to give your mentor feedback and things that you have considered by yourself. Then take responsibility for your own growth and success. This is very important. It's not that you just throw yourself to a particular a mentor and say, oh, I want to become the best biochemist in the world, or I want to write a paper, a manuscript. These are my data. Please, can you help me? No, you have to work. You have to take responsibility for your own growth and success. Is very, very important. And this is applicable to everything we do in life. We must be responsible. So you must follow through to referrals from mentors, right? Remember, I told you of my experience how Professor Andrew Nutt referred me to Professor Kita Kiyoshi, okay? And then so I sent a mail. I immediately he asked me to do so. I went to the cafe and then sent a mail, and I got the feedback, and the rest is history. Show appreciation. Here, just saying thank you is sufficient, right? You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to provide anything. Saying thank you, showing appreciation is very simple. Just thank you. It doesn't cost you to appreciate people. And then listen actively. I think this is very important to mention this, because we are in this age of technology where people are glued to their smartphones or their computer. Whenever you are in a mentor-mentee session, you must be 100% attentive. You shouldn't be distracted checking your phone, because it can be really insulting to do that. But I believe nobody will want to do that, but this is just worthy of mentioning such a thing. And then ask for assistance and guidance whenever needed, right? You don't wait and assume that your mentor should know that you need assistance on how to perform statistical analysis, on how to solve some problems. You should be able to do that. Ask and you shall be given, right? Ask and you will receive. Okay, so these are very simple, basic, natural guidance, or guidelines, and then present your needs in an articulate manner. You need to be articulated in whatever you do, in your writings or in your discussion with your mentor. You should be articulate. Don't go and start blabbing. It is always better to prepare. And even you can rehearse the problem. You can write down the questions that you need to ask during a particular mentoring session. So the right mentee, who is the right mentee? Remember, I said again that the mentee is the most important person. The right mentee is someone who is aspiring to climb a ladder, is someone who is aspiring to succeed at a particular thing. being a career or business or whatever it is, this person has left the comfort zone. He or she has left somewhere, moving upward. But at some point, every individual, if you meet if you meet people that you have considered success today, you know, being it in business or in academics, at some point they needed help. At some point they couldn't move on until, you know, they get help from a mentor. So a good mentee is someone who aspires. And here I have stated just some key or fundamental qualities of a mentee. Fundamental qualities of good mentee is that the person must be desirous of a mentor, and the person must work actively to find a mentor. Okay, it is very important. I have an experience as a mentee. You know, my experience as a mentee was that Professor Andrew Jonathan Knopp met me. Then I didn't know he was even a staff in the department because he was out of the country for long. And then he asked, it was by sheer providence we met, and then he asked me for some questions, and I responded, of course, in a polite manner. And that is why it is important when you meet someone for the first time, please always be polite. Okay, I didn't know he would, if I had been rude to him, or if I had, you know, behaved in very, you know, discouraging ways to him at that time on our first meeting, when I didn't even know he was a staff in the department. It wouldn't have been, the story probably would have been different. And then be inquisitive. Okay, inquisitiveness means you want to know, most especially with regarding to what you need to achieve, or regarding with the mentor. You know, yesterday Philip mentioned that a mentor is someone that you have seen as a success and you aspire to be like. Okay, whatever it is. So you should be inquisitive. Wow, this guy, this is the best, or he's a scientist, he has been publishing in these journals, or he has got some scholarships. I need to ask him some questions. You should be inquisitive enough to walk up to that person and ask, how did you do this? What did you do? You know, where did you get information? You know, ask questions. Okay. You know, as maybe it's because I'm a teacher, and this is one of perhaps one of the attributes of teachers, is that you always want to listen to questions. Okay, so no question is a stupid question. Just ask questions, and people will be very happy to help you. Then you need to set some goals. These goals, we call them, they are here, as you have seen it written here, it's called SMART goals. You must set SMART goals. SMART goals, you know, if you search using this, there's a particular theory. SMART here means it is specific, you know, it's measurable, it's actionable, it's I forgot R, no? It's achievable. I think it's reproducible or something like that. Sorry, pardon me. And then T means it is timely. Please, you can check. Sometimes I have brain skip. So that means your goal must be specific. It must be measurable. Specific means what really do you want to achieve? It's not enough. It's too vague to go and say, oh, I want to become the best scientist. I want to become the best mathematician. Okay, that is not specific enough. Or I want to become the most successful person in Nigeria. In what regards? Is it in politics? Okay, even in politics, what do you want to achieve? You cannot, from, let's say you leave the four walls of an university, you know, just at your first trial, you aim at becoming the president of Nigeria. That may be a little bit difficult. Okay, so you have to go. You have to set a set of specific achievable objectives, and then these should be measurable. Measurable means what do you need? What will be the indicator that you have achieved what you needed to achieve? Okay, what will be the indicator? Okay, maybe you want to become a senior lecturer, or you want to become a professor. You know, you must have a first degree, you must have a master degree, maybe, or you must have a PhD. You know, there are different criteria depending on the field. So maybe you want to become a bank manager, or wherever you are. You want to become the MD or the executive director of your establishment. Okay, there are certain, maybe there are requirements for promotion. It's something that is promotion based. You need to have spent a certain number of years. You need to have, in academia, you must have produced, you must have obtained certain degrees, you must have published certain number of papers. So in 3 years, I want to become a senior lecturer, right? So what do I need? You check your university guideline, whatever it is, and then maybe they require 10 papers, 10 peer review articles. Then you have to sit down within 3 years. You can say, okay, I want to publish 4 papers per year. Then you sit down, you design your project, you design depending on your field. You carry out your experiments and give and obtain these, within that time. Then you have to be active, it should be actionable. Actionable means it's something that is achievable, okay? It's achievable in the sense that you cannot saying that getting out of secondary school or out of the university and then say you want to become the president of Nigeria within 3 years, that may not be achievable, okay? It's almost impossible, right? So these are things that you all have to, and then it should be timely. Timing means that you know how many years, what is the waiting period, if you want to apply for scholarship, okay, when is the deadline for application, what do you need to prepare, things that you need to prepare. So these are things that you must set out, and these are called the set of smart goals. How do you set smart goals for yourselves to achieve your objectives? So I found this really very, very interesting. It's a set of 7 steps. You have to align your goals with your values. Okay, what are your values? This is very important. What are your values? These values are perhaps things that you have learned or things that you acquired from your home. You have learned from your parents. Like in my case, I told you that my father was my mentor. One of the things he inculcated in me, or he made me to believe, was that education is very important. He wasn't educated, and then he made me believe, and up to now I believe that education is very important. That's why I'm still studying. So therefore, because I know my father told me it's important to study, my father told me it's important to acquire knowledge, so I set my goals. Okay, yeah, okay, yes, I want to have a BSc, started, right, qualified and got admitted, and then started the goals. So there are specific objectives. From 100 level to 200 level, you must pass your exams. You shouldn't have much carryover. Eventually, in 400 level, second semester, you shouldn't have a single carryover. If you have a carryover, then you have what we call spilling or spillage. It means you have extra year. So these are things that you must know. So your values must be aligned with your goals. So share your goals with 3 to 5 key people. There are people you've heard of. Then, as a young person, I felt if I share my goals with individuals that they will perhaps scoop me. Scooping means that they will overtake me, or they will share of my goals. No, there's nothing like that. It is important. Share your goals with people. And these people, of course, can be eventually, by the time you identify a mentor, your mentor should be one of the very important persons. Your parents are there, your friends are there, well-wishers, you know them. Okay, you share your goals, because the more you talk about certain things, the more it is that they will most likely come to pass. Then minimize potential for challenges. We have listed some problems earlier. There is no route to success that is without without certain problems. So we must be able to understand these and then establish a support system, because at some point it will get very discouraging. You have people that will be able to support you, assemble everything you need before you need it, and then reward yourself. Reward yourself means you can decide, okay, after I have achieved this, I'll go and have a very good meal, things like that. Make yourself happy at some point. So key to being a better mentee, one is to know what you want, be truly open to feedback. Okay, your mentor or whoever you have chosen to be your mentor should be able to tell you areas where you need to improve. And then you be very good at conversations. Be able to initiate conversations. I have listed some of these. I found this somewhere, and I think it is really very, very important. Like I mentioned to you, most times I ask my Professor Andrew, how do you travel a lot? How do you achieve that? Things like who pays for your flight? He tells me, no, the flight is paid for by certain people. How do you achieve that? Ask questions. Mentors always want to share. They are very good at sharing their experiences. And then, of course, you have to do the work. Don't be a gossip. Don't go to a mentor and start telling the mentor, oh, so person says so this and this about you. No, no successful person wants to be hearing gossip about who said what about them, not through you, his or her mentee, and be trustworthy. So you must be creatively intelligent. Creativity means you are inspired, you are imaginative. You know, these have been listed here. And then the right mentor. We have talked about mentee. Who is the right mentor? The right mentor is someone who is willing, who has already attained success, who have traversed, who has taken the same routes and achieved and got to a particular height and willing to assist other individuals. So these are mentors. The mentor should be able to give guidance, should be able to give useful resources, maybe some materials for if someone wants to write a paper, you can direct the person to get a good literature to be able to consult and write a very good paper. And then, so importantly, what mentors do is they help you to resolve obstacles, because like I mentioned, there will always be obstacles. And here, as you can see, obstacles are merely a call to strengthen your resolve to success. You know, these obstacles are not meant to limit your goal. They are not meant to limit your ability to succeed. They may delay you for a while, but a mentor, if you have a mentor will help you to find a way to overcoming your obstacle. A mentor is different. Yesterday, Philip mentioned some of these, a teacher, a boss, and all that. So I found that, a mentor is someone who tells you what to do on your own to be able to achieve your own goal, the goal that you have set up for yourself. This is different from a boss. A boss tells you what to do and then expects you to find out how to do it and decide on when to do it. But a mentor will guide you, very closely and help you to succeed. I'm sure if I ask you who will be, if an individual is exposed to this set of two set of people, of course, someone who is mentored will most likely have high chance of success. So these are things that we need to know about mentors. The number of us have indicated interest. Yesterday, Philip, you probably will receive a mail from one of my colleagues. She indicated that she wants to be a mentor on your platform. I have given her your email, and I think she already had contacted you. So that my colleague, she will be able to be ready to shape the future of leaders, to be able to strengthen her own leadership skills by herself, and she'll be able to teach new skills and help increase mentee confidence. Okay, this is very important because, of course, in mentor-mentee relationship, it's a win-win engagement. It's a win-win situation. These are, the virtues or the attributes of highly effective mentors. Okay, they are good listeners. They are very committed. Okay, they are willing to transfer knowledge. They are generous, not with money. We're not talking about money here, but generous with their time, with their talent, generous, with the rendering advice or offering you advice. Okay, they are trustworthy. They have trust. You can tell them anything. Whatever you tell them is safe with them. So as a good mentor, you should be able to have these attributes in addition to many more. Okay, so mentors, I summarize here that they are a paragon of virtues. Paragon means it's a collection. They have everything it takes. Everything about mentor is positive. Okay, steps to be taken by a mentor. Here again, I'm sure that a number of people who are already mentors will already have these attributes. One of them is that they are willing. They discuss their goals. They discuss set down goals by the mentees. They identify and provide resources, meaning they give you some materials or refer you to their colleagues and put you in their network to be able to enhance your success at whatever you want to achieve. And then they support mentee towards a journey to progress. So everything here is about making you a success. It's about making you to achieve greater success. Every mentor wants you to be better than him or her. This, you must take this mentees, you should be aware. And then for mentors, this should be, of course, I know that most of us teachers will know this already. Every teacher wants his or her student to be better than him or her. So these are very important things to have at the back of your mind. And the tips, basically, you have to be ready to brainstorm goals and ideas with your mentee, and then dig deeper. In some cases, you may have some mentees that are not willing to, that don't open up, easily. I've had experience with a number of people, a number of friends like that, that are not willing. You have to probe and keep asking questions, ask one question after the other. to have insight into a particular scenario, into a particular thing that you need to know, you may need to ask 10 questions. So you should be patient enough because the overall aim, like I mentioned, is to make the world a better place. And then because if you create leaders in people, these people may not necessarily help you, but they may be the people, certainly they'll be the people who will mentor your own children or your own siblings. Share your stories to connect to mentee. A number of mentors I've had a number of wonderful stories from my mentors. Time will not permit me to share, but very wonderful and uplifting stories. And of course, in the course of my career, I'm still just beginning. I still have a number of mentors here at ABU, outside of the country, all over the country. I have mentors that meet my specific needs, and I have had them told me their stories. I love listening to stories, because it's really it's a shorter way for me to learn. So these skills, if you apply these skills, or if you apply these tips, you will open up the mentee's mind and make him or her more imaginative. You remember the saying of Einstein, right? That imagination is better than knowledge. So the ways to effective mentoring program are listed, a number of them. Just highlight is that the mentor is encouraged, to set up useful training tools, find resources, be reasonable, have reasonable expectation on the mentee. You should know the capability and the capacity of the mentee and not expect too much. Importantly here, there must be setting of ground rules. Okay, what do we from ab initio, from the beginning? What are the do's and don'ts of this relationship, which must be adhered to? Okay, and then there is usually a beginning of a thing. There will also be the end of that start. So in the mentoring program, a good mentoring, a successful mentoring program, you also have the graduate phase responsibilities. I've highlighted some of them here. Here, the mentees, both of them must be sensitive to the relationship and know when it is running, it has run its course, meaning when to stop. Okay, and then the mentee should provide mentor with updates. Okay, since the mentee is the more important person, I will highlight more on the mentee here. Okay, so the mentee should be able to furnish updates to the mentor, should be able to provide evaluation of his or her experience, in the course of the mentoring program. And don't forget to say thank you all the time. Say thank you. It's really pleasing. Thank you it does wonders. These 2 words, very wonderful words. Okay, and give credit when it is due, and then mark the graduation with celebration, meaning that you have achieved based on the goals that you have set to yourself in the course of this relationship. You have been able to see, you have confirmed that the goals, the objectives have been achieved. You have been able to write the number of publications that you needed for that promotion. You have been able to get that scholarship. You have been able to get that postdoc position. You have been able to apply and get the grant. Then you may need to change mentors, okay? Or in some cases, some mentors, the mentor-mentee relationship may be for life, all right? And then, so importantly here is that I will highlight here is that the mentee, after being mentored, should also volunteer to mentor others. This is very important. You need to pass the baton, okay? It's just like a relay team, making the world a better place. Problems are emerging every, now and then. So therefore, there must be creative ways of mentoring other people that will solve those problems. Importantly, for the mentor, is that the mentor should be willing to repeat the process all over again. The more mentees that you mentor, the more achievements you have. And then, so in conclusion here, the mentor, this is like a take-home message. This is a summary of all that we have spoken, we have been talking about since yesterday, that the mentor offers support, has relevant knowledge, has challenges the mentee. The mentor is not supposed to do things for the mentee. You should be able to challenge the mentee and let the mentee's creativity, be nurtured, right? So both of them must trust one another. I will have mentioned this. Have a very effective communication. It's a two-way learning. They must be able to troubleshoot problems and solve the problems collectively, because that is very important. And then for the mentee is to take responsibility. It is your responsibility to succeed. It's your responsibility to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. And then you demonstrate time management. You should be able to prepare for meetings. Remember these pieces are very important and key. I still do this because just very recently I have started another mentoring program where I'm a mentee myself. Okay, so I'm still learning. because I'm at the beginning of my career or middle of my career. Show enthusiasm and be proactive. So with this, I come to the end of my talk, and thank you for listening. I intentionally want to give room for, we have about 30 minutes based on our time to discuss, to rub minds. Remember, this is not a lecture. This is a webinar where it should be where there should be a two-way flow of experience or views about making the world a better place, making Africa a better place, and then transforming the lot of the human race. Thank you for listening. I hand over to the organizer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel Balogun, for this expository lecture. We really, really appreciate spending your time with us. And the wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us is immeasurable, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much for giving us this amazing lecture. So if we have anyone with questions, can we raise our hands? Or if you want to type it in the comment section, we can type it in the comment section. So if we have questions, let's raise our hands so that I can unmute and then we can speak. Okay, Afolabi Olawale, can you go on?
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. This lecture was very impactful and highly resourceful. God bless you, sir. My question, sir, you talk so much about mentors and mentees. So I want to ask, before a mentee can figure out or pick a mentor, is it necessary for us to actually find out much about that individual before we can choose him as a mentor? Because I believe from the lecture and what you have taught us, even though one might have achieved success, but that person might not be an effective mentor. So how do we actually identify an effective mentor? Can we just jump into somebody and pick him as a mentor? Or we need to actually study or find out so much about him? Maybe he has mentored so many people, then we can ask questions before we can choose that individual as our mentor. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you. It's a very, very important question. I'll spend some time to explain this. It's just because of time, I couldn't share much. So you actually answered the question before, but I will just highlight. So number one, you don't just jump, just like you mentioned, you just don't jump onto someone. You need to have, certainly you must have known that person. You must have seen that person. Maybe the person is a professor, assuming if you're in academia, or if maybe you are even just a BSc student or an MSc student, but you have a goal, you have a future aspiration to become maybe a professor, or you have a future, just so let's limit that. Let's use this example, since that's what most of us are familiar with. So you must have known. So the person has achieved success, just like you have mentioned. Success does not mean that the person have the ability to transmit the rudiments that he or she learned on her or his journey to that success or to that point. So as you have rightly mentioned, we have unfortunately, of course, you have people who have achieved a success, but they have not been able to train. You cannot even pinpoint one person who they have trained, okay, in any way. I mentioned my mentees. I'm sorry, my mentors to you. Okay, there are some people that no one can mention them as their mentor. So such people, it's not that they are not good, not that they are bad people, okay? But you as an individual, you have to decide, do you want to experiment if that person is actually good at mentoring or not? I think classically, the simple question will be that, okay, you have to go and find, part of your findings or your investigation is to know, who has this person mentored? Okay, who has this person supervised, for instance? Okay, so these are very important questions that you must ask yourself first. If you are able to answer them, then it's easy. If you're not able to answer them, you can ask people around. Very recently, I'll share an example, a recent experience. One of my colleague, younger colleague. He's actually, I'll call him my mentee. So he approached me. He was writing, he was applying for scholarship, and then of course, I wrote, I wrote a number of referee for him, and then he now informed me that he was taken, and then he decided that he was going to be supervised by one professor. This is a different, this is a different country out of this country, but immediately he mentioned it because it's my field. Okay, I knew that that person personally. I'm not impressed with that professor's progress. Okay, so I informed my mentee, advised him that, look, if I were you, I will not go to that lab because they do not have. I can't see their measurable achievements in terms of mentoring young people. Okay, so this is very important. Olawale. You have to do your homework. You have to investigate who will be able to guide you appropriately towards success. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I think you answered this question. Thank you very much, sir. So, Adeni Abiodun.
Yeah, good evening,
Adeni
everyone.
Abiodun.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you. We can hear you. Go on. We can hear you.
Okay. May I first appreciate Dr. Emmanuel Balogun for his lecture. So, my question goes thus: I've seen a situation whereby there is, let me say, unhealthy rivalry between a mentor and a mentee. So the question now is that what can be the likely causes for this unhealthy rivalry between the mentor and the mentee? And if such a problem exists, what's the solution to the problem? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Adeni. It's also a very good question. Actually, unhealthy rivalry between a mentor and a mentee, this will certainly be the fault of the mentor. There are instances in which mentors get threatened, and this usually happen when these individuals are in the same organization. Maybe they are in the same department. For instance, if they're in the university, they're in the same department, and then they see that if their mentee get a particular rank, maybe that person, the professor, the mentor, is aiming to become the head of department in that department. He or she may think that that mentee will be a competitor. It has happened in the past. So, and you don't blame them for doing this. But immediately you see that as a mentee, like I mentioned to you, that the mentee is the most important factor. So as a mentee, if you notice an unhealthy rivalry between you and your mentor, the best thing is to quit. Find another mentor. Okay? Although I think this situation is very rare. I must say, I haven't seen this myself. I've never seen this. I've never seen this. But there are instances in which people paint this kind of scenario, right? So, and it occurs mostly among people that are in the same organization. Most especially when the mentee becomes, is speedily gaining momentum, is speedily rising, and then the mentor gets threatened that he or she may be overtaken, with regards to a particular position that he or she is aiming at. So as a mentee, if you find this situation, please just quit and find another mentor. It's simple as that.
Thank you, Dr. Balogun. But let me I want to quickly add something to that. It's that's a very good analogy. But when we flip it, then I want to add, as Dr. Balogun said, that mentor is likely to be very lazy. Because it is very hard for mentee to overtake his mentor. Because the gap is always there. You don't forget that we said the mentor is always, majorly, most of the time, the one that I've already achieved, and why mentee is coming behind. Therefore, if that rivalry is coming, it's likely that the mentee is very lazy. Two, the mentor is very lazy. Two, the mentor have a low goal. If you have a medium goal, you probably the mentee have a higher vision. For instance, the mentor is okay with HOD, but mentee want to become a dean. That can happen. Another thing, when we look at that mentee side, is that when mentee fail to acknowledge effectively the mentor's contribution. It also can bring rivalry. For instance, if you have achieved something, you are doing a work and you discover something. Do you know, even until recently, even postdocs are not entitled for Nobel Prize award. Until recently, and even up to now, PhD students cannot be given what do you call a Nobel Prize. Why? Because they believe they are still under tutelage. Therefore, you should not, if a mentor should not, a mentee should not overblow his achievement. That can actually cause a rivalry, unhealthy rivalry. Therefore, the problem can come on the other side. If the mentee is too proud to acknowledge his mentor for what he has done. I remember I met a young guy who came from, I think from the East, around 2008, 2009. I think I was doing my master's at that time. And I think he's having a problem with his mentor. With people in the department, they said they don't want to help me. I said, don't worry. Don't worry. Go with what you have given and achieve better things. Therefore, please don't, in quotes, don't have too much, don't be over ambitious. Yeah, that's the right word. Don't be over ambitious as a mentee and get what you want. And as the last thing is, instead of letting everything blow, once you discover that your mentee, your mentors start to worry about you, then I think it's a high time you move to the next stage. Let that mentor appreciate him and move to the next mentor. And let it be officially known. As you started in the first day, let it be officially known that, okay, sir, at this point, I think I want to move and open it before it blow up, because that can affect your career and it can stop you, your progression. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. Hello? Sorry, I cannot.
Right. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, my mentor is refusing to show me the right thing because of ethnicity. What should I do?
Wow. Again, this, well, some things, you know, we hear this kind of things. Sometimes I'm tempted to say they're impossible, but of course, if it can be, if it is conceivable, it is a possibility. This is a tough question, and I really don't know, because I think this is really unethical. For in a mentor-mentee relationship, it transcends all forms of barrier. You know, there should be issue of religion, issue of tribe, issue of country or race. It's not supposed to be a factor. For instance, I'm from Kogi State. My mentor, my late mentor, was from Kaduna State. So, and in my team, in his team, we have a number of Muslims, we have a number of Christians, we have people who don't even believe, you know, God exists, but we work amicably. So in that case, it is really tough. And I think I really don't know what to say. What I can say is that if I am in your position, if that is really true, it is very simple. What I will do is, number one, the first step to take would be communication, because I know in every conflict, communication have the potential to solve a number of conflicts. So you can, you know, summon the courage and then walk up to such a mentor and then tell him or her, sir or ma, you know, I'm having this problem and I'm thinking, or it is really occurring to me, and I'm afraid it may be because I'm not from the same faith as you. I'm not, because I'm not from the same ethnic group as you, and this is what I feel. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not right. I hope I'm wrong. And then, if you think you are not, or sir, if you think you are not comfortable being my mentor, please, can you please suggest someone, or can I just, you know, move on? You know, settle amicably, please. If you are encountered with such a scenario, do not talk. Don't gossip. Don't tell other people, because you may be wrong. You must confirm that. And the way to confirm that is to communicate that to your mentor. Is, of course, is important. There's nothing wrong in being suspicious, right? But you need to confirm that your suspicion is right or wrong before And the only way you can confirm that is when you walk up to him or her and tell him or her your fears. That is based on this kind of barrier. And I think,
so the person is saying that he confirmed from the mentor's assistant.
the mentor assistant is not the same as a mentor.
It's not exactly.
Yeah, you go to the mentor and discuss this with the mentor. So if the mentor assistant has highlighted this, then your problem is half solved. You can go to the mentor and tell him that your mentor, your assistant, you told me this is a problem. This problem I'm having is because of the barrier that is between me and you. If it is true, please can you let me go? Can I proceed to someone else? So you have to communicate with the person, not another person, right?
Yes, I agree with Dr. Balogun. Thank you for the wonderful one. I think one thing I want to say is I hope as academics grow in Nigeria, yesterday I said Nigerian academics is not growing as expected. Someone at master's, PhD level should be allowed to choose their mentor. That's what we call supervisor. I think one of the problems is because it was forced on him or on her. Because if in Nigeria, it is like a crime to change your mentorship, or a PhD mentorship or master's mentorship. It's because they are being forced. If the person choose, because I think this thing is happening. The question is coming because it's like a student-teacher mentorship. That's where the question is coming from. If I'm right, which means the person is just like, remember how do they do? They just allot the student. In fact, they just allot the student, even BSc, they allot them. They don't care what's your area of interest. They just allot student. I think that's where that problem comes from. If the problem, the only solution, the major solution for that question will not arise is let people choose who they want to work with. That's one. As Dr. Balogun said, the question, don't listen to rumor. People may feel like females. Some people believe that female, the male lecturer doesn't like them because of so. It may not be true. You may listen. You may need to ask that person. Probably you have done something wrong. Probably you have said. Probably the day you were posted to him, you said him or her. Probably you have said something behind him that he heard. Or probably when he was taking you the class, before they were distributed, you have said something and you did not perform well enough, or you are interested in one area of research that is not interested. Therefore, it may be more complicated than religion or tribe, because our people, we are easily narrow things down to the easiest goal, which is because I'm Hausa, because I'm from Kanuri, because I'm from this. It may not be so. Please answer the question, investigate what you have done wrong, and let that person know, because you are not likely to be the only person from your tribe who have ever passed through that place. Why is it happening to you? I think that would be my own recommendation for you.
Sorry, good evening, please. I'm Emmanuel Balogun. I was supposed to just be a silent guest, but on this topic, I don't know if I could just put in one or two things.
Go on, ma. But please make it snappy.
Okay. I think we are.
Please.
You said?
Are you a mentee or a mentor?
Both.
Okay.
I'm a mentor and a mentee. I'm still under some people's tutelage.
Good.
But I think we are confusing the term supervisor and mentorship in this case, because as a mentor, definitely they must have strike a balance from the beginning, and there should be acceptability. So I think the last question was more of a student. So if care is not taken, she's taking a supervisor to be a mentor. So she should be able to differentiate these two personalities, because your supervisor is not your mentor.
Thank you, ma. But actually, on the real sense, there's supposed not to be a difference. Just a supervisor is a mentor. Anybody say I'm a supervisor, but I'm not your mentor, the person doesn't know his or her job. You are to supervise. Supervise is to mentor. It's a tutelage. That's a duty. Therefore, if a supervisor choose not to mentor, it doesn't. It's like you are not doing the part of the job well. It doesn't mean that you are a good mentor or bad mentor. No, we know that we have different skills. But as a supervisor, your job is to mentor. That is the meaning of being. We only call it supervisor. The original sense is to mentor, is to tutor. Therefore, if the process is not complete, that's why I brought it away. That is a form of group mentorship or student-teacher relationship, unlike the other official, unofficial. Even in fact, the teacher's supervisor is the most official one, because the person is being paid to do the job. The other one is like the one I'm doing now, the one we are doing now, is this unofficial one. We are not being paid. But to be a supervisor, to tutor someone, that is official. But you cannot extend, you can make it a long-term thing. After you have graduated, then you can continue to be a mentor. Like yesterday, one of my great boss called me to congratulate me for my birthday. And he asked me a lot of things. How is the US? How is this thing? Asked me questions about my wife and so on and so forth. That is it. After, I think the last class I attended is class I attended probably in 2007. But still, we still maintain it. But as the youngest lecturer here and the senior lecturer who will listen to this, should know that as a supervisor, either you are supervising BSc, Master's, PhD, or MPhil, you're supposed to be, your job is to mentor. Let that one sink.
Okay, if I may just add, thank you, Nusra. Thank you, Dr. Nusra Balogun, for that question. It's really, I mean, your highlight is you are right, that it may not necessarily, and both of you are actually right. You are right, and Philip is also right, that a mentor may necessarily not be a supervisor. And then Philip is right by saying that in most cases, a supervisor may be the mentor. In my case, from my experience, my supervisor is my mentor. It's the same as my mentor. But whatever is the case, we said that if assuming is the advanced type in which the mentee, identified a mentor and then approached him or her and they agree, that's why I mentioned, if you look at this slide, I mentioned that there are common problems encountered. Mismatching is one of the problems. Declining commitment is another problem. So if this exists between people who ab initio agree to be in this relationship, it may likely be that the problem started along the line. Maybe along the line, someone poisoned the mind of the mentor against the mentee, and then this kind of problem can arise. If it arises, okay, if it is possible, just like I mentioned, there should be communication. If it doesn't work, the mentee has the right to resign from such a relationship. Thank you. You are both correct, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Someone directed a question to me here. I want to quickly read it. He said, exactly, sir, but I agree with you, Dr. Philip. But what do we do when such a lecturer did not see you as his mentee and he never had a time for you? He only attend to you once in 3 weeks, which is causing setback in your research. Once in 3 weeks is not bad. As I said yesterday, and Dr. Balogun alluded to today, in fact, you don't have to have one mentor. You don't need to have one. Therefore, if that person did not see you, what I said is that as a supervisor, you're supposed to be your mentor. But if the person doesn't have a prerequisite skill, and if the person doesn't agree to do the job, then you can have someone who will be an affiliate. Don't forget, as I said, our major problem is because we are being forced on the mentor. Therefore, and as Dr. Balogun said, be mismatched. That probably the person is not interested in doing the job and you are forced on it. Therefore, look around someone that will support that. And in fact, that person can be as far as America, Canada, South Africa, Cameroon, Ghana. You can look for anybody you can see around who will fulfill that position. I don't know if the students are here. The student made me, I think he's a Cameroonian, about 2-3 years ago, mailed me on, I think on my Facebook, or that say, oh, he wants to do some things on, he's doing it, I think masters in Morocco. That he want to do something, and he contacted me, and I assisted him. In fact, he wanted to buy some reagents, and I linked him up how to do. I've never seen him physically. Therefore, if your mentor fails to provide that, then look for alternatives instead of fighting. If the mentors fail, so as we said yesterday, and Dr. Balogun also reiterated today, you cannot give what you don't have. The mentor may not well mentor. If they are not well mentored, they can't do it. You can't force them to offer what they cannot offer. Therefore, look outside to get it instead of fighting within. I think that's what I would say.
Thank you very much, sir. So I think let's have Lamin BS Diba have his question or her question.
Okay, thank you everyone. I am Lamin BS Diba. I'm a Gambian. Dr. Balogun is my supervisor, MSc, and also my mentor too. So I'm glad to be in this program here. I wanted to ask, Doctor talked about there should be ground rules between mentor and mentee. So I wanted to find out what might be some of these rules or these limits that must be set, or how can a mentee actually, if the supervisor didn't, or sorry, if the mentor did not inform him or her about these rules, what are some of these signs that the mentee might look for that this is a limit, this is a rule, I shouldn't pass this level or something like that? And that's one question. The other question is that in a case where the mentor and the mentee, let's say in the beginning, like in the case of a supervisor, are not on good terms, and but let's say in an academic setting, this is because of a recent experience that a colleague of mine actually have. So maybe the person felt that, okay, let me just deal with situation until I finish my program or something like that, and then the things actually end up in a way which is not really very good. So in such a situation, what can a mentee do in make sure that he changes supervisor without the fear of having backlash or something like that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lami. How are you? How is Gambia? I believe you're fine. So about the ground rule.
Gambia is fine. Thank you.
Okay, good. So the ground rule is there are things that both the mentor and the mentee will have to discuss and agree. Okay, it can be something like, oh, look, please don't call me on phone when it is past so time of the day. Don't come to my house unannounced or without prior notice or without invitation. If you miss a meeting twice or thrice, there's this penalty, things like that. These are usual ground rules that should be agreed upon. But the ground rule is not a ground rule until it is discussed between the two parties, right? Yeah, the mentor shouldn't just decide by himself or herself that, okay, this guy, I will observe if this guy called me, or if this lady calls me at so time, I will just resign. No, it should be discussed. Otherwise it's not a rule. It should just be kind of opportunity to chant. Okay, and then about students and change of supervisor or change of mentorship. Well, change of mentorship is even easier because the mentor is not being paid to do this. It's just a service that you have employed him to do, to a service that you have that the mentee has employed the mentor to render, free of FOC, free of charge. And at the beginning, of course, just like I highlighted, whenever it has become unhealthy, you know that it's time to move on. So students, I think African students don't know their rights. As a student, mostly as a graduate student, whether a graduate student or undergraduate student, you guys are more powerful than the supervisor. You can decide to change your supervisor anytime, when you decide that, okay, this is no longer working. But you have to be objective about it, right? Okay, so you need to consult. Don't take the decision, hastily. You should, ask yourself questions. What is it that you must have done? You should also consult with colleagues. in any institution, in any organization, you will be able to identify, if you are smart enough, you should be able to identify people that can mediate, that can talk to difficult supervisors or difficult mentors. There are such people. It's just like I'm here now. I have one of my mentees here is Professor Nasir Shaibu. We are quite close. He's my mentor. He knows I'm his mentee. So there's nothing he will ask me to do. For instance, if I start with chanting or misbehaving to a student, and if he calls me and tells me you have to stop, I will stop. So as a mentee, you should be able to recognize that, okay, even your mentor have certain people that he or she can listen to, and then you can leverage on such knowledge. You must be smart. There is always a problem. There will always be problems, but you must be smart enough to know how to solve your problem amicably. Don't cause, because most times when you destroy relationships, they're not easy to mend back, and you don't know when you will need such relationships. Okay, no relationship can be easily dispensed of. You need people. You cannot move on your own. Yesterday Philip mentioned it, and I think Nike, that if you want to go far, if you want to move fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go with people. So it means you need people. Never destroy a relationship. That's one thing that I have. I mean, I'm proud of that. I have never destroyed any of my relationships, and they are sacrosanct. So please try your best not to destroy relationships. Did I answer your line? Okay.
Yes. Thank you, doctor.
Okay. Is our coordinator? Okay, I think we see.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. I thought I was allowed to talk just now.
Okay, yes, okay. Go ahead. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for this privilege, doctor, for today. I really want to come in with something. I think I think I would like it if ASN and NSN, the PSN, the conferences in Nigeria, if we can include topics like this, because the perspective of mentorship in Nigeria is very bad. You find a mentor. Okay, I teach medical students here in Uganda. I'm tuning in from Uganda. You find a mentor in Nigeria being verbally abusive to a mentee. I'm not saying something I heard. This is like not even a first degree mentor, not even a first degree. This is like a mentee that is doing a second degree program. Not something I heard. So you find out that some mentors are verbally abusive, that if the mentee is not someone that is determined in life, you go pack your bag, go house. You pack your bag and go home. I was talking to a medical student here that I teach. So I was trying to be very strict with the girl because she's having anatomy carryovers. So I now found out that the foundation is even wrong. She never wanted to read medicine. That what she wanted to read was physicists. So I now had to stop being so strict on her because.
Oh, wow. I can't hear her again. Is it only me?
This
is someone that is trying to be inspired. I will totally discourage her. Things in Nigeria need to be upgraded so that you follow people based on people's own story, not generally. There are some people that don't have the kind of heart to bear some harsh words that some mentors use on students sometimes. Really, thank you. Long time.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you, Jane. I guess she has internet issues. So, but yeah, I'm showing this slide as one of the characteristics of highly effective mentors. It is very important. This is really very, I'm happy that we're discussing this here. Maybe a number of us are mentees and some are mentors. So these are things that we should have at the back of our mind. We must be kind. Kindness is very important. Respect is very important. Everybody, respect is as magical as thank you. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to respect. Nobody is here as long as the person leaves the comfort of his or her home to come to study, maybe under you, okay, or under us. We must take extra effort to be respectful. Under no circumstance should we use harsh words. Harsh words in the sense, maybe like calling people, negative names. These are not necessary. There are ways in which you can discipline individuals. Maybe if you permit me to give Lamin an exam, so just a few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, to tell you his experience with me. We had a quarrel, not quarrel per se. We at some point I had to be hard on him.
Yes, yes.
Can you just share
Yes,
your
doctor.
experience with me briefly? Just share it with the audience briefly. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, when I came to Nigeria, our doctor was my supervisor and also my mentor. So initially, I had this issue of like not coming to, coming to, let's say, to the department or to meet him regularly. Some of these things, and also maybe respecting time or something like that. So I remember a doctor called me and called some of my colleagues and kind of like addressed me there. And that was one of the experience that I have. Other experience that I have with him is that I think once I spoken to him and I did not do something which is right. And then also that one also he kind of like called people and then asked me to do, punish me sort of. And the thing is, how did he help me? So I was under a strict rule that every day I have to go to the department by 8, and even if he's not there, I have to write a note and write it down. Hello, doctor, I'm here, and pass it there and under his into his office, and then I'll have to leave the department very late, and that actually transformed me because then my background was chemistry and I was doing biotechnology. So I think I've done a lot of staying in the department there. I have a time to read and go through the transformation, and and also being with him in the office till 2 a.m. and then coming back in the morning it's 8 a.m. was not something I was used to. So now that's cultural to me. So these are some of the things that I have to go through with doctors for the transformation.
Thank you. Thank you. So there's no need to use harsh on individuals, just explain things to people and then discipline them when there's need, and then, move on.
Yeah, I think I like that example, Dr. Balogun. That is good. I think so. Actually, many people are coming from a very background that is not well disciplined. Therefore, if a mentor want to enforce a discipline, they see it as like being too harsh. Of a truth, just like when I said casually the other time that's what he has been paid to do, but of a truth, academics are not even being paid to supervise, especially in Nigeria. Supervising, especially masters, PhD, it is probably zero. It's now they are trying to probably introduce some things. Therefore, the person is doing it for free. In Nigeria, as best as my knowledge, except things have started changing, all lecturers from GA to professor are employed to teach undergraduates. Postgraduates is just like an addition. Therefore, either you are being, as I said yesterday, Dr. Balogun also illustrated that you are the most important factor in this element, and it is for your own good. Therefore, do it. Don't see it as, oh, it's also benefiting. Why is he forcing me to do this? Please commit to it and try to follow through. You will become master someday. All those things that you think your mentors are doing that are not, you don't like it, tomorrow when you become a mentor, try to not to replicate them. That's how you become a better version of who your mentor was or were, as the case may be. I think that's my own contribution to that.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Philip. I think we'll have Joa now for his or her question, and that will be the last question from the people raising their hands. We'll take the last questions from, and then the chat box. So Joa, please, the floor is yours.
Let us say you trust this mentor and You've been with the mentor for several months. How would you know if your mentor is leading you astray?
Well, your question is a difficult one, but it's very simple. At the beginning, you remember we mentioned that at the beginning you must set up your goals. Okay, you have agreed on a set of goals. So if your mentor is setting you astray, it means that it's going off the goals that you have set. Maybe like I mentioned, you want to become a senior lecturer and you need 10 papers to become a senior lecturer, and you approach him. The reason why you want him to mentor you is that you want him to mentor you on how to write, right? And then when you get there, instead of discussing how to write, he's giving you scripts to mark. You know that this is, yeah, that's, so you know that that's leading you astray. So at that point, again, you have to pause and discuss, communicate. Don't get angry and then leave the relationship abruptly. Communicate to the mentor, sir or ma, these are the goals that we have set, and these tasks that you are giving me will lead me off my goal. And I'm sure such a mentor will take a redress. Okay, nobody is perfect. And if it doesn't happen again, the simple rule is, if he or she is not taking a redress, if it continues to happen, then you don't go. You don't go there. I have someone I want to discuss a problem with someone that I wanted him to mentor me to solve that problem, and he told me, "Oh, don't worry, I had the same problem some years back. Don't worry, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay." So I knew that this person is going to lead me astray, so I stopped discussing with him. Simple.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So the last set of questions. One is, what are the ways to appreciate our mentor? And the second one says, I am currently a final year student of the Department of Human Anatomy. I have so many visions of improving the study, I have so many visions of improving the study of human anatomy in Nigeria and have ambition in research with the hope of finding a cure to one of the world's most deadly diseases in the world. I don't know where to start from. I need a mentor. Where should I start from?
All right. Thank you. About the issue of appreciation, okay. I told you the best way to appreciate your mentor, first thing is to say thank you. Just say it. Say those two words. Thank you. I appreciate your effort. I was deficient in this and this. I came to you, and then you have been able to put me through. Now I have been able to publish 10 papers before my promotion. Thank you so much. And then, of course, you can acknowledge your mentor if your mentor did not contribute actively in the study and does not qualify to be an author. Okay, you can put him or her in acknowledgement. And then the best way to say thank you or to appreciate a mentor is to be able to succeed, to exert yourself and work hard and succeed and achieve your goals, your objectives. And that is enough appreciation. The other one about anatomy wanting to be the best, again, that is not a very specific. From what we describe as a SMART goal, that goal is not concise, it's not specific. You are saying you want to become the best, you want to solve the most difficult problem in the world. What problem? You have to be specific. And then after that, your mentor will be able to guide you appropriately. But again, since you're an anatomist, I will leave this to Philip to be able to guide you appropriately.
Okay, the person asking the question is Nasser. Thank you, Dr. Balogun. I think Dr. Balogun said that. I want to add a little bit on appreciation. I wrote it down. I said, say it. He has said it. I'm just repeating. Just say it. Thank you. 2, acknowledge. In writing and verbal. If you are presenting, like today, I don't know if the mentors of Dr. Balogun would probably flip through this video in years to come, in days to come. If they are alive, they are mentee, they will say, oh, wow, this guy presented and he acknowledged. They will see, they know. That is true. Respect their time. Respect their time. And the last thing, to appreciate is to respect their the set or your agreement. Set go, respect them. Then By that, you are appreciating them. Then as for anatomy students, your vision is valid, but make sure you sharpen it. You know, when you just first wake up and you open your eye, you don't see clearly. And that's what Dr. Balogun is pointing out, that your vision is not just sharp enough. Then when you meet a mentor, then the mentor will help you to sharpen your, that's one of the job function of a mentor. It will help you to sharpen your vision. Some things that are not attainable, some things that are realistic, then it will be able to achieve them. And if you are looking for a mentor, I told you yesterday, your community, this is a platform. People who are here are ready to mentor you. And if you want to be a mentee under our platform, just reach out to me after the program. Our link will be shared to you, and you can be who you want to be. But first of all, you need to ready to stay under the tutelage and acquire your higher degree. I think that is what I will say for now about that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Philip. Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel Balogun. On behalf of myself as the anchor of the day, Babalola Kaukab, and the chair of the committee for this webinar series, Mrs. Idaya, and our host, Dr. Philip Adeni, I would like to present this a certificate of appreciation to Dr. Emmanuel Balogun. Please give me a moment.
Okay, I think I will allow you to share that. Can you share it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just a moment.
While that is waiting, I think for Dr. Balogun to accept to speak to us, we will definitely, I believe, we one day, even henceforth, we will be ready to join our mentorship platform and be able to provide necessary mentorship. And as concerning the person that you mentioned that it signified that I want to be a mentor, we are glad. We want to see that person. Person can mail me on our platform or by email directly. If you want to mail me directly, is adeni@ohsu.edu. You can mail me directly, or you can mail the AYS admin at aysmp.org. You can send it there. I'll be able to do, or you can go to our website. Just as I saw it before, I will show it again after the CACAB has presented this certificate. You can log in there, go and register as a mentor and as a mentee. Then we'll get back to you. We want it to be interactive.
Sir, it's not loading up.
Okay, it's not loading up. I have it here. Let me see if I can show it. Okay, let me see. Probably where is this certificate? Okay, no, we have the other one. Let me see. Where's page? Dr. Balogun. Okay, I think something happened. I can't load it here myself.
Okay, let me try to share it again.
Yeah, try to attempt it. It's downloading on my system. But I think I downloaded it yesterday. But the certificate is ready, and we'll mail it to you as soon as.
Okay, so I think it's up now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. On behalf of myself as the anchor of the day, Babalola Kaukab, and the chair for this webinar series, Idaya Jijima Abdugafar, and the host for this webinar series, Dr. Philip Adeni, we would like to present this certificate of appreciation to you, Dr. Emmanuel Balogun, for your exemplary contribution to our webinar series. We really appreciate your time for coming to share so much with us, so much of your time, so much of your experience. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming. And to all the participants of this webinar, we really appreciate you for coming, to honoring our invitation. Thank you so much.
Let me stop.
The webinar series continues tomorrow as the final day of the webinar, tomorrow as well. Please keep the time with us.